boy, oh boy, time to review one of my least favorite things made by this fandom. Alpha Tale, of course. Wait. Getting ahead of myself there. That demon's for another time. This time we're looking at Camila Cubiss' Glitchtale, a quote-unquote TV show, with its first episode, Megalomaniac, released in February 2016. If you don't want spoilers, firstly, what are you doing here? Secondly, link in the description for all of Season 1, which is what I'll be looking at. Okay, you've been warned. I'll be formatting this review in a more direct fashion. I watch the content, then give my thoughts on where it suffers. I will give credit for genuinely good scenes, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. You might see me as insane for disliking this series, but to be frank, you'll see my point shortly. In terms of any insults towards Camellia, whether direct or indirect, most of them are just me being annoyed at her writing flaws. This video is not an insult towards her as a person, however, I do have little respect for her in that regard either. Despite that, my reasons for disliking her have minimal to do with her writing. Any insults here are to be directed towards her writing. This is not a call for you to go and harass her. That should be self-explanatory, but it's the internet. I just want to repeat that before anyone gets the wrong idea. Do not, under any circumstances, go harass someone because of their writing. Alright, with that out of the way, let's just get to the actual review. Initially, Glitchtale was just a fancy animation, retelling a more emotionally involved version of the final genocide battle of the hit series Undertale. After great success, a sequel was made. It honestly had very little connection to the first episode, but people wanted more, and so Season 1 was made to great acclaim in the Undertale fandom. Why? I honestly can't tell you. I'm not going to pretend to be some psychologist who can explain why people like this series, but if I had to give my guess, it's simply because it's an animation with a basic plot. Most good animations in the community lack that, except Underverse, which is similarly popular. Not to say there isn't any, but they've generally gone unnoticed. Now, with my stupid brain out of the way, let's begin. The series opens with a text explaining to the watcher the definition of megalomaniac. Ironically, in the context of the episode and Season 1 as a whole, this is just flavor text. I'm getting ahead of myself, but neither the villains nor heroes have their motivations centered around megalomania. Kara, who you'd assume the term is directed towards in this instance, as shown later in the episode, is not themselves a megalomaniac in the context of Glitchtale. Kara just wants to erase the timeline because icky, meanie hate goo has infected them and Frisk is big mean, I guess. Nonetheless, this is a nitpick, so let's move on. We cut to a totally white final corridor with Sans and Frisk there. Two nitpicks. Firstly, in the overworld, or not the battle menu, Sans, for some fucking reason, is gray-lined. Don't say it's a stylistic choice either, as Frisk doesn't suffer from this and is black-lined the whole time. Moving on from that, the second nitpick is the song itself. The song's value is subjective, but a minor issue is it's sung by Camilla. Why? Because I don't know where, in-universe, the song's meant to be. It's implied to be in-universe since it describes ongoing events from a first-person perspective. If one would guess based on lyrics, it's coming from Sans. However, since Camilla has a female voice, that can't be the sake, as Sans is obviously male. It can't be Frisk, even assuming we ignore Cammy making Frisk male in Glitchtale, because its lyrics are clearly from Sans' perspective. Again, nitpick, but still, it was just off-putting for me personally and made immersion harder. From there, Frisk does a little hop as Sans summons a Bone Zone. There's a very strange delay in between Sans snapping his fingers and the blaster's summoning, something Frisk doesn't use to turn around? Like they just stand there shocked while he snaps his fingers. Do they want to die? Whatever, Frisk gets incinerated and returns. As if you couldn't go 3 seconds without pissing me off, Frisk has blood coming from their mouth as if they were wounded, but that doesn't make any sense. Don't say it's a wound sustained from the earlier attack, because 1, they were incinerated, not stabbed or slashed, and 2, loading a save file restores all HP. Don't even say something like, but Contrarian Man is rewinding time, so injuries Frisk had beforehand would return. Frisk hasn't shown any injuries before the fight, and even if they did, saving a file also restores all HP. Just one stupid shot and you pissed me off again. From there, slashes Sans with their knife, so he sends them back against the wall. I could nitpick the fact all these attacks kill Frisk instantly, as Sans only has 1 attack so he shouldn't be able to do that, but given how slow Frisk's reaction time seems to be, they're probably just standing there and getting eye-framed to death while the attack hits them. There's a small emotional scene, which is okay, although it's a bit strange Sans would be as emotional as he seems about fighting Frisk, given it's Sans, the guy who basically threatens to kill them repeatedly throughout the game. No clue how I just noticed this earlier, and now I can't unsee it. But why does Sans have eyebrows? He doesn't have hair. What the fuck? How does have eyebrows? Okay, nitpicks. They don't matter. No impact on the plot by him having eyebrows. I need to calm down. Frisk and Sans continue their fight with some awkward camera angles. Also, another nitpick! In the grayscale fight area, which seems to represent the battle menu, Frisk has a dark gray face but bright gray hands. How the fuck does that work? Skin colors would be consistent. This isn't that hard. Jeez, man, I'm not even just critiquing animation quality at this point. Let's just move on. After Spanan's Thunderdoodle kills Fraska many times, Frisk gets the big sad and wants to reset. But Cha-Cha, real smooth, says, "No, I don't want that," and grabs Frisk's arm in the save menu. However, there are many issues with this. Firstly, Kara never appears in the save file in Undertale. Even after killing Sans, Kara is not in the save lobby. It could at least make sense if, say, it was shown as some weird illusion thing with Kara possessing Flowey, who is in the save file at this point, but it clearly is not. Also, Kara never holds control to prevent Frisk's actions in the file. Even at level 20, the player is capable of resetting without issue, despite that being the point that Kara autos every fight by immediately starting with a kill shot. Before you say, "But it's an AU, so AU logic," it isn't. It's an alternate timeline, thus meaning it's Undertale, but certain events changed to change the chain of events. It follows the same rules is what I'm saying. This one isn't a nitpick either, as it has a direct impact on the plot and allows the rest of this episode to happen. You could argue it's technically irrelevant, since Frisk just resets at the end anyway, but that reinforces my point in that this is made a pointless fight scene by the fact Frisk could have just reset in the first place. Assuming Cammy knew how Undertale works, that is. Also, here's another not nitpick. During the fight between Sans and Kara, after Kara fully possesses Frisk's body, Sans sends them flying back into a set of bones using telekinesis. Kara saves themselves by stabbing a knife into the ground. Firstly, given their angle and height, they shouldn't be able to reach the ground in this manner or react at the speed, but we'll ignore that. However, the main point here is they managed to stab straight through solid stone with a normal knife. Remember, the final corridor is made of solid stone. It has fucking stone pillars, for Christ's sake. It's not even like they just jab their knife into it. They just casually slide their knife through it like butter. The whole knife's depth, mind you. Either Cammy doesn't know how hard stone is, or she just fucking forgot the setting. Either one is a flaw, since it means Kara survives this fight, thus preventing Frisk from breaking out and doing the funny reset. Oh, and funny thing, remember how I mentioned that, in the combat zone, Frisk's hands were differently colored? Yeah, that's fixed with Kara, who has a consistent dark gray. So what happened with Frisk? Whatever, I guess. Also, Kara manages to catch one of Sans' bones, something they shouldn't be able to do because magic projectiles hurt you on touch, so doing that would probably melt their hand off or some shit. However, I'll let Rule of Cool slide here for the sake of the scene. So, Sans is exhausted and shit after Kara deflects his final attack, which is just 3 bones. Not sure why it's different to his in-game final attack, but whatever. That's basically irrelevant, we'll let it slide. So Frisk sees this and physically hits the barrier keeping them in place. No, I'm not shitting you. Frisk is stuck in the save room with weird magic hate tendril shit, and they can just punch through it. Who the fuck thought this made any fucking sense? Kara over-telegraphs their swing, something Sans for some reason doesn't capitalize on, despite the fact it'd be easy as impaling them with a single bone. Whatever, I guess he was just too tired to have functioning brain cells. So Frisk breaks the wall thing, and the swing is blocked with their own body. Strangely, Kara looks to be too far away for their knife to have actually hit Sans, but whatever, I guess Kara was just planning on, sprinting forward or something to hit him, I don't know. Nonetheless, Frisk gets slashed by themselves? No, seriously, think about it. Kara is possessing Frisk's body, since Kara's corpse is buried back in the ruins. So how did Frisk just materialize a second body for himself to get slashed by? Whatever, bigger bullshit is about to come up. So Frisk gets slashed and says, "Snaz, take your soul, please." So Frisk just gave their soul up? That's not something you can do in Undertale. Kara fucking commits suicide to give Azrael their soul. But okay, I guess Kara just slashed Frisk and killed them. Wouldn't Frisk load a file upon being hit? I don't think they can just choose to give up. No, it's not a willpower thing. Flowey canonically killed himself and still reset on instinct, so it's not something you have power over. You can't give away your soul like this. Sans gets 2 blue eyes from absorbing the soul for reasons I don't care to try and conceptualize, and does a funny little laugh as Kara still smiles. God damn, stop smiling, you annoying twit. You're not scared, you're just brain dead. So either way, there's a weird build-up with the Megalovania remix, but Sans just insta-kills Kara. What was the point of the Megalovania remix? Why not at least have Sans slap them around a bit if you're going to put it on an obnoxiously loud song as a result of him getting the soul? Then Sans does a roll credit that says, "Get dunked on, Megalomaniac." Because funny, haha, Sans man, am I right? No, I love Sans Underman. Have you ever heard of Sans from... Kill me. Now back to Eternal Pain, Sans resets. Alright. But Contrarian, he has the determination cell, so can't he reset? Yes, I'm aware. He can technically reset, as despite what Ultra Tail would tell you, a determination soul would give you higher DT levels than Flowey, thus meaning you could reset. However, the issue is Cammy doesn't know how resets work. By Sans taking Frisk's soul, he has made the genocide permanent. How so? When one takes control of the timeline from the former controller, which would in this case be Frisk, they erase all existing files and prevent them from loading. How do we know this? Flowey. Flowey's unable to load his files as Frisk is more determined, thus how we can kill him at the end of Genocide or Neutral. He's only more determined when he has the 6 human souls, hence why you're only allowed to come back on his save file. The earliest one can reset to is when they first took over the timeline. For Flowey, it's when he got injected with determination by Alphys. For Frisk, it's when they fell underground. This isn't something we necessarily know directly, although it's heavily implied, but we do also know this based on the fact Frisk can't just leave the underground with a reset. If they could reset to any point in the past, they could just reset before they fell into the underground and not do whatever caused that to happen. Or Flowey could just reset to before he died and not die, or kill the human, or anything. So, this one isn't a nitpick either. If Cammy had followed through with Determination's canon logic, then there would be no future series, as Kara would have never returned, Frisk and the rest of the cast other than Flowey, Asgore, and Nabstablook would all be dead, and Glitchtale would have ended here and now. Don't mention Betty either, or I will literally throw you into Vector's Shark Tank. Okay. On to episode 2. Maybe Cammy approved here? Let's see.